I wish Excel would let me concatenate a range of cells all at once. I also wish Excel would let me delimit that range of cells with a specific delimiter. This is the Nutility that allows you to do that. What I provided you is a custom formula that's built into Nutilities, and it can be used by typing in equals delimiter and feeding it a range, and then an optional wrap and an optional delimiter. Optional being you could leave those blank and they wouldn't show up. You can find a description of how to use this formula under the Utilities menu, Custom Formulas, equals delimiter. Let me show you a couple quick examples. Before I start, let's take a look at what this actually solves. When you use the built-in formula of equals concatenate, you'll notice that you can't concatenate a range of cells all at once. So I typed in equals concatenate, and I'm trying to concatenate cells B4 through C6 all at once. You'll see that that's an error. Using the built-in formula of concatenate, I would actually have to select each cell individually and separate it by a comma like I'm doing here. With delimiter, I could accomplish that same thing by typing in equals delimiter, highlighting the range I want to work with, highlighting the wrapper I want, I'm saying nothing, or typing in the wrapper I want, and by putting in double quote with nothing between, that means nothing, and then putting in the delimiter I want, once again putting nothing, we end up with the exact same thing. The benefit here is I could do that with 5,000 rows, a huge range all at once. And you can see that in the example I'm providing you, I'm actually using a two-dimensional range, and I'm including blank cells. I did this on purpose. You could use a range that's just like this, or you could use a range that's multiple columns wide. So that's why I've made it into a two-dimensional range for my examples. Something to note, the delimiter formula I've made ignores any blank cells. So you might have noticed that I highlighted before more cells than were available, and it still only gave me map, car, dog, rat. It's because blanks are ignored. So let me just show you how some of these formulas react with the delimiter formula. In this column, I've put in what I typed in as the formula, except I've removed the equals sign. So for this row, you can see that the formula I typed in matches this example formula, and this shows the output of that formula. I'm hoping with all of these examples it makes it very clear how this custom formula works. Before I go any further, one thing to note, custom formulas in Nutilities are only available to other users that have Nutilities. So if you send this workbook to somebody else and you're using my formula, you need to hard code those formulas before you send it, otherwise it'll error out when they receive it. So let's take a look at the first one. And just so you know, all of these share the exact same range, which is B4 through C6. In this one, I'm leaving out both the optional wrap and the optional delimiter. All I'm putting in is equals delimiter and then the range. And you can see by default, the optional wrap does not exist. These are not wrapped in anything, and they're delimited by a comma. So that is the default. If I were to specify a specific delimiter and leave still out the optional wrap, so you can see I didn't put anything in for the wrap except I had to put a comma in its place to let you know I'm moving past it. So I put in range, comma, comma, and then I specified a delimiter. Range, comma, comma, specified a delimiter. You can see the delimiter I specified was a semicolon. We end up with this output. So by using this range and this formula, I came up with this output. You can see the delimiter is a semicolon. Once again, using the same range, this time I've specified the range and a wrap. You see range, comma, and now I'm putting in an apostrophe in quotes, and then comma, and then I'm not actually putting an optional delimiter, so I'm leaving this off. You'll see that we end up with the default delimiter of comma, but this time we have a wrap of the apostrophe. So you can see the wrap ends up on both sides of the items. So map is inside apostrophes, cars inside apostrophes, and so forth. This one's actually fantastic for when you're trying to make a query for a data warehouse. They often want you to put all your items in this sort of format. Let's take a look at when I've used the formula where I use the same range. And for optional wrap, this time I still put in an apostrophe. And then for optional delimiter, I put in a semicolon. Now I end up the same thing as above, except this time since I specified a semicolon as a delimiter, you can see that I'm wrapped in apostrophes, then I'm delimited by semicolons. And finally, let's say you want to use quotes with this formula. In Excel, to type quotes into a formula, you don't just type in quote 3 quotes, you'd actually have to type in 4. So let's take a look at how this works. So using the delimiter formula, I type in the range. Then for the wrap, I've put in 4 quotes. And then for the delimiter, I'm still just keeping it at semicolon. And you can see now every item is wrapped in quotes. Let's say I wanted this time to put the delimiter as quotes and not have a wrapper. So let's take a look at how I do that. So delimiter, type in the range. I don't want a wrapper, so I'm just leaving it blank. And then I want quotes to be my delimiter. I'm going to type in 1, 2, 3, 4. Close up. And now you can see I'm delimited by quotes. The formula I use there look like this.